In today's experiment, we're going to be looking at trying to figure out the difference in densities between warm and cold water and fresh and salt water. So I've prepared 4 different water conditions. We've got warm salty water, which is the warm waters are at a room temperature, and the cold waters have been kept in the fridge. So I've got warm salt water, cold salt water, cold fresh water, and warm salt water. And for each of these water conditions, we're going to be measuring mass and volume. So the first thing that we want to do here is we want to turn on our balance and make sure that it's reading the correct units. So it's currently showing 0, and it has a G for the units, which is what we want because we want to measure in grams. Now, when we're taking the mass of the water, we want to make sure we're just measuring the mass of the water. We don't want the mass of the graduated cylinder. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stick the graduated cylinder on the balance, and then we're going to hit the T button, which stands for tare. This re-zeros the balance and has essentially subtracted the mass of the graduated cylinder. Now, for us, our target volume here in this video is going to be for 20 milliliters. So we're going to try and get exactly 20 milliliters in our graduated cylinder for each sample. If it's not exactly 20 milliliters, though, we are going to record what the actual volume is in our data table in our science notebook. We're going to start with the cold, salty water. We now have exactly 20 milliliters in the graduated cylinder, and we're going to take the mass now. The mass for our cold, salty water is 19.8 grams. Now we're going to do our measurements for the cold, fresh water, again with our target volume being 20 milliliters. So this time our volume is a bit over 20 milliliters. So for the cold fresh water, our actual volume is 20.5 milliliters. And we're going to record the mass now. And the mass for the cold fresh water is 19.3 grams. Our next measurement is going to be for the warm salty water. Again, our target volume is 20 milliliters. Now we have exactly 20 milliliters of warm salty water, and we'll take the mass. And our mass for the warm salty water of 20 milliliters is 19.8 grams. Lastly, we're going to do our measurement for warm fresh water. Now I've got 20 milliliters of warm fresh water. Put it on our balance, and that comes out to 18.6 grams. So once you've recorded all the data from our experiment here, this is what your data table should look like. In our next assignment, we'll be taking all of our class data and analyzing it in Google Sheets.